my beautiful people. I hope you're doing well tonight. I'm ready for the weekend. It's Friday night. I gotta be honest, I don't like not having Blue October and Justin music every other Friday. That was very good self-care for me, but I guess I'll have to survive. Today's letter was I, and I am going to apply the I words to what I've been doing in my recovery, especially the last year or so. And once my website gets beautiful and updated, you'll be able to see where the first I came in if you care to read the About Me page. But it started with I imagining. And I'm not going to get into like all the details because I would be podcasting until like next month. But I think it's time to share with you kind of how, like, why I'm sitting here podcasting and what my mission looks like on a way bigger level. So the first I of imagining, a couple years ago, I was at a Zumba convention, and there was a water slide at the pool at the hotel. The Zumba convention's always in Orlando. And I have not reproduced. I'm not anti-children. They just never fit in my life. I love the ones that, are my relatives or my friends or whatever. But I'm just not that lady who's like, hand me the newborn baby. Oh, I love it so much. Like I guess I'm kind of like, I want purpose, and I don't see how babies serve purpose. Like their purpose is for people to wait on them hand and foot. And I'm sorry if you totally hate me for having these opinions, but it wasn't my thing. And again, I'm not judging other people. I guess we need children around. But I've always struggled with, because I have never been a parent, I'm not the one who's adjusted or had lived through having my own child be the screaming one on the plane that sits next to Bobby, or or the one that, like, they don't know their space. Like, if you're in a public place, children are kind of in the way. So this kind of happened in the water slide, at the water slide line on this particular day. I was like, geez, I want a water slide where there's no kids. I'm telling you a big secret here. So, what's the name of my show? No Kid In. So, I think you could see where I'm going with this. So basically, I imagined up a dream that, all right, let me ask you this. Where can you go? And God, I would love to actually hear your answers on this. Where can you go where there's no children as an adult, like for recreation or entertainment? Yeah, I'm giving you silence, like I can hear you think. Well, I can't really come up with anything other than casinos and bars. No kids in there. And even that's a stretch, because depending on the casino, you'll see that they drop the kids off at the arcade. Oh, yeah, let's teach them how to grow up to be gamblers. Or they're sleeping like outside the gaming floor. And I know you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. Hell, maybe you've done it yourself. And again, not from a place of judgment. It's, the addiction makes us do crazy fucking wonked out things like that. So that was my first iota of imagining, was imagining a place where I can go to play without children. So that was the beginning of the imagination of what I'm going to call a recovery playground. If you think about what one of the biggest factors in relapse is, it is boredom. whether it's drinking, gambling, whatever, boredom. We need something to fill the time, especially in gambling. So that was my first I word. Now, mind you, these I words came up on the Facebook pages today where I, solicit and play the games, the letter games, I call them, or the alphabet games, whatever. But these 3 words came up, but it's really, I'm going to just tie them together the way they fit into my world. So first, I imagine this place. Now, you've heard me talk almost every day probably about all the classes and all the work that I'm doing. And it's not like traditional classes. I know in order to build this recovery playground dream that I imagined, I need a lot of eye income, a real lot of eye income. So I have been, my next I word, investing in myself. And I'm going to go 2 different ways with this invest. I think I want to make sure I tie in the rest. So I'm going to deviate from my little story for a minute about investing in myself because there's something else that just keeps showing up in my world. Because when I was in one of these classes yesterday, I have to announce, well, I don't have to, but part of it is we announce what our story is and who are the people we serve, because that's what I'm doing, is learning more about how to run like my own version of recovery classes, online challenges, all kinds of tools. I'm going to offer tools in a little bit different way. I'm going to do it in the COVID 2020 way as opposed to traditional in the rooms way. And a lot of things are coming, and you'll see by the end of the year. This is like a big teaser episode, teaser and secrets. And I can't believe I'm telling you like quite the whole dream. There's a little part of me that's like, somebody's going to steal my idea. But you know what? If they do, then we have multiple places for people in recovery to go. So I guess it wouldn't be all that horrible. So anyway, invest. I'm investing a lot in myself, and I'm very proud of that, and it's important in order to live out my new dream. But the investment part that I kind of want to speak to before I give you my last I word is surrounding stocks and bonds and the stock market and day trading. And I will be honest, I have a lot to learn around that area. What I know, I remember identifying this in school, was like, geez, I really wish I knew how the stock market worked, because I don't understand necessarily the levels and why it changes. Like, I know it changes when bad things happen and things are impacted, but I really, even after a ton of accounting classes and common stock and this, that, and the other thing, I still really just don't get it. But people do, and people play in the stock. Like, my only association with the stock market is my 401k, which, and this kind of gets into some principles about, what people are comfortable with in the gambling arena, which is why I bring it up. So for my investing in the stock market, it's just the 401k people do all the work. So I don't even have to pay attention. I don't even know what I own. I just give them a dollar amount and I look to see if it goes higher or lower. It's that simple. So I'm in this class and I introduce myself as a compulsive gambler. I think I'm in a room with somebody from Vegas, and then I can't remember where the other lady was from. Or maybe I'm screwing up the rooms because we broke out 4 different times. But the lady says to me, I don't gamble, but I do day trade. I've been doing that for a while. And it's exciting to see it go up and down and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally gambling. Like, you could hear the energy level, and it was the same kind of energy level that I got about a mile from the casino, or the first glimpse of the sign, like, okay, we're almost there, yay. And Brett Stone, Dr. Brett, early on, God, I don't even know what episode, he was relatively early, but shared how he was addicted to the stock market. Like, that was his form of gambling. So much that he missed the birth of his daughter. so much that he wasn't paying attention when he was standing in front of the classroom to the people he was teaching as a professor. So I'm bringing it up in case you happen to be wondering how I feel about this. And this is my opinion, because my position in general is everything is up to the individual, like to make up their mind with the decision. And like, this is why I don't get into politics, because I don't care to do the research on politics to be able to debate it or whatever. It's the same way with how we treat recovery. Now, again, big fan of GA, but here's this book of rules. And as you heard me totally freak out about, like, if people don't follow the rules to the T, then it creates arguments and frustrations, which then is a trigger and blah, blah, blah. So this is a little bit more gray thinking, which, oh, by the way, is a new move for me because I'm generally pretty black and white. So I will definitely say that it's for you to decide. And as you see some information that I'm going to put out, you'll get asked the questions, you know, if you're having, we'll call them symptoms for lack of a better word, of what gambling addiction might look like when it comes to the stock market. You know, if you're watching it sporadically or investing, and again, I've never done this, so I can't tell you it's right or wrong or what the physiological response is, but I can tell you that from going to conferences and from educating myself on the topic, that the chase and the money and the adrenaline and the escape all are the same as if we were pulling a lever on a slot machine or playing an online game or watching a sports event that we have money on. It's the same symptoms. That's the word I'm going to use. So I just wanted to call that out while Invest showed up on the alphabet game. Okay, so back to, I'm investing in myself, and I'm investing the time, I'm investing money, like so much money. But here's the thing. Every time I spend money, I think of it, and stuff like this showed up too today, where people were saying, like, for the letter I in self-care, I can buy or I can do. The freedom that you have when you stop gambling, it's crazy how much money you actually have access to in most cases. Even if you are paying off your debt and trying to fix things, the money's crazy. Changing the money mindset isn't always as immediate as the finances are and coming back. But so I'm investing in myself, and that brings me to the last I, which is implementing. So I could have imagined my dream. I could have invested in myself to get my dream to happen. But if I don't implement it, it just dies with me. So I like implementation as a word, as a self-care word. I feel like it has some accountability to it and some motivation to it. Like, if you implement your plan, like if you implement your strategies. So I could tell you a million different things to do on the show throughout time, but if you don't implement them, it doesn't matter. It just, if you don't take action and implement. So that's how it works with recovery, and that's one of the principles I believe strongly in, the difference between abstinence and recovery. When you're in recovery, you're implementing tools to achieve a better life. Where if you're abstinent, you're just not gambling. And yeah, maybe it works if you want to be, well, I don't want to put a stereotype on it. So if that's what works for you, what you may not realize is how you really show up in the world. Because if you're still acting with an attitude instead of coming from a place of gratitude, like I saw somebody say, they said something, for the love of goodness, I can't remember what it was. But it read to me like, okay, well, I got some time clean, but there was still more information in there, that it wasn't about growing or evolving or looking for the good things. Maybe it was just a post about money. I really can't believe I can't remember. But if you knew how many classes I was doing, you would know why my brain just leaks stuff out and I don't retain everything. So that's kind of my top secret dream and my little lecture as it relates. If everything I believe was true and was true for everyone, I would tell you to definitely not play the market, at least where you're looking at it and getting that action, right? It's all about action. And I would tell you to implement the tools in your recovery, provided you have the tools. If you don't, then you need to invest in finding them. Like if I was your parent, the lady who doesn't want any kids, that's what I would tell you to do. Now, the choices are yours. So I would just encourage you to, maybe be inquisitive. Does it begin with an I? Inquisitive? Yeah, so be inquisitive about how these things pertain to you as an individual. Everybody's on their own path. I don't know where you are, where you came from, what you're doing. I don't know any of that stuff. I only know how things apply to me. So take it or leave it, really. But I can tell you that being on the other side of it and doing it the way I did, my recovery journey, has gotten me to the place where I can sit here and I can imagine and dream and talk to you and be free of, the pain and the shit most days, because I've learned how to, move through them. And I'm just so grateful for that. And you might have heard that once or twice before too. So, all right. That's my I spiel. Tomorrow's J. Tomorrow the center opens, so I think I'm going to go to the meeting, even though I'm having some mixed feelings about that. I had a correspondence this morning with someone from group, and I'm sitting here telling you that I pretty much let things go, and it's still bugging me a little bit, but by tomorrow I'll forget. And I got to remember and practice. This is where the practice comes in. I have to practice that everybody has their own opinion and their own values and their own, whatever they need to do, their responsibility. So I'm trying to keep that in mind and remind myself. And like I said, by tomorrow, I may have a different perspective on it and be over it. Probably because my memory will forget it. So that's my scoop, guys. I hope that you have a fantastically wonderful either Friday night or Saturday morning if you're following along live, depending on where you are. It's really fun. It's really fun thinking about the world now as opposed to thinking about, people right down the street. I know that COVID has done so much damage, but it's really done so much good. I was on a call a couple hours ago with someone, he's Middle Eastern, but lives in England, a lady who's from Hungary, and then I think the last one was a farmer / therapist from the Midwest. And then there's me in upstate New York. Like, how beautiful is that? And when we meet once a week, we laugh, we're moving forward in our businesses and stuff, but it's so nice to be exposed to so many different things while I'm investing in myself. I don't have a creative I word to say farewell. So how about I would appreciate if you would leave a review or rate my show. Obviously, this is a growing priority, and it'll help me get some more fun countries. But if you enjoy the show and you don't mind sharing a minute of your time, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, beautiful people. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.